Hello everyone and welcome to Bret's Table. I appreciate you tuning in today. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on. A lot going on. Spent a weekend in Iowa a couple of weekends ago, and then as soon as I got home I promptly remembered that I had left my laptop in Iowa, so that was another trip down. And then last weekend I was busy teaching a private cooking class, so here I am back. And we are making Sablés, which is French for cookie. I just posted on my Facebook page, my homepage. The Sablés in France can be quite large, but size sometimes matters, but in this case mine are going to be a lot smaller. So we're doing a rosemary-honey, and that's because my good friend, my friends Bruce and Rob, they harvested some honey down in Cannon Falls, which is this honey right here, and Bruce was asking what we could do with it. So we are going to be using some honey and some rosemary out of my garden to make this delicious cookie. So before we get started, I just want to, I don't know if I've done this before, but I want to show you why weight matters. So I've got a bowl here and I have my scale, and 1 cup of flour equals 4.5 ounces. Okay, so oftentimes people, when they measure, especially for cookies, you know, they'll take a 1 cup measure and they will put in, you know, what they think is a cup, you know, or sometimes they'll round it off. Sometimes they'll, you know, shake it to get approximately a cup. Sometimes they'll tap it on the counter, you know, and then add more. But if you do it this way, this, what seemingly is a cup, is now 5 ounces. So we are half an ounce over what the standard 1 cup measure for flour is. So that may not make a big difference when you are baking bread, but today we are using 2 1/4 cups or 10.5 ounces of unbleached all-purpose flour. And if each cup weighed 5 ounces instead of 4.5, then we are going to have more than 1 ounce of flour than what we want. So if your cookies or baked goods seem to be dry, go back and 1, check how you're measuring your flour, or 2, better yet, invest in a scale so that everything can go in one bowl. So today I'm measuring out 10.5 ounces of flour. I don't have to worry about measuring cups. That's 9.5, that's 10 1/4, or, you know, 300 grams right there. I have 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to whisk that together. Okay, done. I'm going to put my flour and my measuring cups away because I have a very small kitchen. So now we're going to set that aside. I measured out 3 ounces of granulated sugar. So that is going in to my stand mixer. And in my stand mixer I have 8 ounces of Kelowna organic unsalted butter. So that's why I'm wearing my Kelowna Supernatural t-shirt. So I've got my butter and my flour in my mixer. Now I'm also going to use vanilla sugar. And you say, well, how can you What is vanilla sugar? Well, I just looked on the website for Penzies, and vanilla is now selling for more than $7 a bean. But so way back when vanilla wasn't quite so expensive, I bought a whole bunch, and I added it to a jar of vodka. You could also add it to bourbon, and now I have vanilla extract. So I just stuffed a whole bunch of vanilla beans in the jar, added some vodka or bourbon, something that's a nondescript alcohol, and let it sit. This has been sitting for about 3 years. So now I have delicious vodka. Delicious vanilla extract. But if you use a vanilla bean, say in a simple syrup, you don't. Oftentimes the recipe says to take the vanilla bean out of the simple syrup and discard it. Well, it's over $7 a piece. I'm not going to discard the vanilla bean. So what I do is I'll rinse it off, dry it in air dry it, and then I will add it to like a cup of granulated sugar. And after a couple of months, I keep adding, as I use vanilla beans, keep adding it to this little container of sugar, and then when I have 4 or 5 of them, I will buzz the dried vanilla beans in a little spice grinder, and I make my own vanilla sugar. So that's what this is just vanilla sugar that I made. So that's going in my food process, or my stand mixer as well. So I'm going to raise this up and mix this, not very high, because I don't want to whip a lot of air into it. So I'll scrape down the bowl to incorporate the sugar into the butter. And get it going again. The other thing that I want to show you is that there's a lock on this paddle. So if I remove the lock, then the paddle hits the bottom of the bowl, and the paddle's not going to go anywhere as long as my bowl is locked in place. So that's all there is to mixing the sugar with the room temperature butter. So I'm just scraping down the bowl again. And then I am going to add 1 large organic egg yolk that I got at Gabrielson Farms. And then my honey, I have measured out here. Try not to spill it before it gets into the bowl. So honey from Cannon Falls, Minnesota. I'm not sure how many ounces. Bruce and Rob, it's R&B honey from my friends. They have bees down in Cannon Falls, and I think they harvested something like 300 ounces of honey. Bruce can post that. I think he's watching. But anyway, it's for sale. If you'd like some local, you can get in touch with Bruce or get in touch with me to buy some local honey. I know my friends out in Wheaton, they brought me home, or I sent me home with some honey. So now I'm going to mix in the egg yolk and the honey and just scrape down. Until everything is incorporated. So keep scraping down the bowl. And now I'm going to get rid of some of these things because I don't have a lot of room. So this is for my egg wash, so I'm going to set that aside for a minute. Okay, get that out of the way. So now I've got my flour and my salt mixture, so I'm going to add it in a couple of additions and just mix it until it's combined. Okay. Finish adding the remainder of the flour. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to add in my fresh rosemary. And let that continue to mix. Okay, so I'm going to set my mixer out of the way because I've run out of room. Get this out of the way. So get all of this off the paddle. Use my finger, it's easier. And this, the difference between live and pre-recorded is that it would jump to when I would finish this, but we're doing all this live today. Okay. So I'm going to get this all out of the bowl. Put it on my marble work surface here. Carefully so it doesn't end up all over the floor. Just mix this together. Just to incorporate it. And if you need to add a little more flour, you can, just so it doesn't stick. Okay, so now we're going to cut this in half, and it's 735 grams. So half of that is what, like 350, 360. So $365 is close enough. So, get that out of the way, get that out of the way. I'm going to wash my hands here. So I have a piece of parchment paper. It's hard to explain how to do this, so it's easier just to show you. I've got my half of my dough here. I'm just rolling out, and then you take and fold this over. I'm going to get rid of my scale. And you take and you push the dough against the parchment paper to make a perfectly round cylinder. And you can pat the ends, and it takes a little bit of patience, so you keep just pressing it until you get the cylinder as long as you want. So if you want them bigger around, you do a shorter log. If you want them thinner, you do a longer log. So then from here, after you've done this piece, made them to the size that you want, you just roll it up and stick it in the refrigerator until it firms up. So we're going to just set that aside. So is everybody following me? So now, I have a cutting board. I've got from the refrigerator a log that I had frozen from last week. And we're just going to split that. It's well wrapped because it was in the freezer, so well wrapped is good. So I've got an egg here. Going to whisk with about a teaspoon of water. And then I have my sugar here. It's like a sanding sugar sprinkles from Wilton. So what I'm going to do is take and brush my log all the way around with my egg wash. And sprinkle it with my sanding sugar. And then take my knife and cut like a 1/4 inch slices all the way down my log, and then I will put them on a parchment lined baking sheet and pop them in the oven for about 13 minutes, 12 minutes. I baked the last ones for 15, the first batch, and then they were too dark, so I lowered the time to 13 minutes, and they were still too dark. So you obviously want to keep an eye on them. They shouldn't be as dark as these that I made. I would like for them to be a little lighter, so we'll try again today. So these can definitely, you can make the log, wrap it really well like I did, put it in the freezer. It can stay there for a month, so you can, make these cookies before Thanksgiving, and they'll be ready to bake off for the holidays, and add them to your holiday cookie tray. So again, if you would like some honey, let me know, or post your request on my Facebook Live as we're doing this. And you can get in touch with Bruce, who lives in Minneapolis. Unfortunately, even though Bruce does work at the post office, I don't think these are going to be shipped anywhere. So if you're local and would like to buy some of his honey from Cannon Falls, let me know. So if you have any questions about vanilla, there's actually 3 kinds of vanilla that I know of, from Madagascar, Tahitian, and Mexican vanilla beans. The Mexican is smoky in flavor. The Madagascar is more floral, and the Tahitian is more cherry and chocolate flavors, from what I understand. I usually get the beans either from Madagascar or from Tahiti. Also, I want to let you know that I was interviewed for a podcast that my friend Michael Dane has started. It's called Sounds Tasty. So we did that podcast interview last Thursday. So watch out for when that gets published. So thanks so much, everyone, for watching today. Get out and vote between now and November 3rd for the sake of this country and our future. Enjoy this beautiful fall day, and let me know if you have any questions. So, also, if you have any suggestions on future Facebook Live, let me know that. I know one person wanted me to teach them how to make frangipani, which I'm happy to do, but I've been making a lot of frangipani lately, and it's like, what is one person to do with all this food? Oh yeah, and also the stroopel waffles, that Dutch treat. I've been practicing that, so maybe I'll demonstrate how to make those here in the future. And if you want any cookies, let me know, because now I have another 60 that I'm going to bake off, since it has the egg wash on it now. So I'll be baking those off, so let me know if you'd like some. What I made today, I'll pop in the freezer and have in a month or so. So thanks again, everyone. Live well and eat well, and I will see you next Sunday, God willing. So take care. Have a great day.